How do you sing Sweet Child of Mine successfully without damaging your vocal cords? Earlier today, one of my clients was singing this song, but I noticed that his vocal cords kept slipping on certain parts. And so either he would go to kind of squeeze and like, ah! Or they would slip completely, and then he would have these kind of bald spots or little flippy moments that almost kind of sounded like falsetto. So it would either be, oh, or, oh. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of things that we did with him to get a successful, easy, effortless, but still really strong and connected sound. All right, so a couple of things are happening here. First of all, his voice is very thin, but it has kind of a misleading fullness about it. The reason that it's full and thin at the same time is because he's lowering his larynx, so he's making this sound a little bit dopey, and then that counteracts the thin quality of that whiny that he's kind of doing. She's got a smile, it seems to me. It would feel a little too strange for me to do that. So if I were to sing this song, I would lower my larynx just a little bit. And that's exactly what I found with my client today. He was trying to make it too whiny, too squeezy, and so it was actually making everything a little bit too thin. So what we did was we had him lower his larynx, which basically just means you make it kind of dopey. Like, okay, let's go over here. It's like a cartoonish type of sound. So if you add that in and you blend it in with this pharyngeal, whiny sharpness, you really have a good balance. She's got a smile that seems to me reminds me of childhood memories. You hear the meh and the kind of blended together. You can really learn how to adjust that and then stop on anywhere on the spectrum that works for you and your sound. On the second part of this verse, this is where we found that the vocal cords were slipping a little bit earlier today. So I had him do this. So you notice this doesn't really sound super smooth or amazing, but what it did do was it taught his vocal cords how to snap shut. And this is where you get the attack without the force. Staccato and force don't equal each other. Staccato simply means that there's almost no time between when there's no sound and then all of a sudden when there's sound. Ah! It doesn't mean ah! It doesn't mean go harder. So try it like this. Then you can go back. Oh, sweet child of mine. And you can grab that exact same sound with half the amount of effort, and you can really get a lot of good presence to it by practicing the staccato notes first. Then the second thing we did is we worked through that low larynx position. This kind of offsets the super annoying, whiny kind of sound that we're getting currently. So we did this on the chorus with a ma. Ma, 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 ma. Ma, 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 ma. But then you notice it's a little too soft, almost like a, oh, sweet child. Now we go back and we add those staccato notes that we already practiced. So, ma, you hear the staccato attacks? That gives it, again, a good attack without the force. So, oh, sweet child of mine, oh, 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 sweet love of mine. And there's more of the finished product. So work on that, kind of bounce back and forth between each of these extremes, if you will, until you get a good balance of both.